Carrying Capacity, A Key to Environmental Planning by David R. Godschalk and Francis H. Parker. Carrying capacity is defined as the maximum number of individuals that the environment can sustain indefinitely given the food, habitat, water, and other necessities available in the environment. In the Coastal Zone Management Act of 1972, that has a relation on this idea, the goal of this act is to preserve, protect, develop, and to restore resources of the nation's coastal zone. Although carrying capacity was not directly mentioned in the act, it has a relation on identifying areas such as vulnerable habitats, aquifer recharge zones, and storm-prone beaches, where there appear to be inherent limits to use. Pitfalls of carrying capacity. When planners try to plan that has a workable criteria around the carrying capacity concept, they run into discouraging pitfalls. Some planners tend to think that carrying capacity is as easy as it is. Carrying capacity not only includes environmental definition, but also institutional and perceptual definitions. Environmental carrying capacity is the limit wherein human activity will lead to undesirable changes in the environment. The carrying capacity limit assumes that all resources will be constant in the predicted future. Environmental applications. There are three different ways environmental carrying capacity has been applied. First case is to set at the minimum level. Second is where the level of environment loading is limited to the level that will not degrade certain aspects of the environment, working backward from the standards. Third, it is the capacity of environment to accept a new activity before the activity becomes self-limiting. Environmental theory. The basis for this theory is drawn from ecology and the natural sciences with relation to natural systems. The focus of this theory is to search for natural principles such as systems' total energy use. Environmental planning methods. In planning environmental carrying capacity, aerial data collection was also done via satellite, high-altitude photography, and conventional airplane. The most critical problem is determining the relationships between the resource and the loads to predict carrying capacity limit in advance. Critical research needs to focus on determining the cause and effect relationships between human activity and the rate of consequent environmental degradation. Perceptual carrying capacity. In this case, critical factor is not the objective physical capacity of the environment, rather our perception of the environment's character. Perceptual capacity applications. These are cases wherein applicable in an environment that is valued for experience, such as recreation. For example, to determine the capacity of wilderness areas to support hiking, wherein too many hikers will destroy the experience of wilderness that all are seeking. Perceptual capacity theory. This basis for this theory is the environmental psychology. The theory tries to make solutions for discovering and analyzing the mental image of the environment in people's mind. Perceptual planning methods. One method of perceptual planning is by using a citizen survey based on cognitive mapping. Through this, the planner gains an understanding of how much value is placed by citizens on different areas of the environment. Institutional carrying capacity. It is the ability of organizations in an area to guide development toward public goals. This involves the limitations imposed by governmental structure, budgets, and personnel as the more general economic limits of the area environmental decision-making. Capacity applications in institutional. Coastal Zone Management Act of 1972 arranges for planning and regulating water and land in coastal areas are inadequate. With this, it creates a program to encourage the government to do something about it. This will result for the programs to raise the threshold of institutional capacity. Institutional capacity theory. This theory also has been a result of communication theory, organizational theory, innovation theory, and community theory. The idea of this is to theoretically measure the things that are needed to be developed around the capacity of institution. Institutional planning methods. First step is to be careful on studies on managing the growth at the state and local levels. This will help to demonstrate the amount of resources necessary for effectiveness under circumstances. Second is a comparative study of a representative sample of environmental planning and management institutions. This method will test and help to attempt to produce knowledge about the general types of institutions and the resources needed for various functions. The Philippines has always been considered as an overpopulated country, although I think it is just mismanaged by our government. So as a conclusion, dealing with carrying capacity needs a lot of planning methods. Nevertheless, knowing its limits and recognizing its limits, it will be a very valuable planning tool.